to go through concepts of Langchain. So if you open that website, uh, check again. So are you there? Have you opened the official website?
Now, can you hear me? I think I'm having some network issues. Can you hear me now? I'm getting some network issues. Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I think I'm getting some power network issues. So I was talking
But
about
you're breaking a lot.
I'm breaking. Let me check my network again.
You're breaking a lot.
Okay, so a minute. I
Okay.
check my network again. How about now?
Better right now.
Okay, I think I've changed my network. Are you having some issue with power outage? I think now it's back. So back to the business. So today I wanted us to introduce Langchain framework. So we are going to start by understanding what is a framework. We start from there, what is a framework? Then from there, now what is Langchain framework? So this will be our main concept today. So we are not going to write any code, but we're going to go through some of the concepts we have in Langchain. So this is the expectation where we are going to introduce Langchain ecosystem. Very, very importantly, before I lost my connection, we are going to differentiate between these three terms that are very, very confusing. So we are going to differentiate between Langchain, Langgraph, and Langsmith. If you go even to the website itself, the one I've told you to open, I don't know whether you're still there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I was also adding my audio. Is it clear now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's clear now. Yeah.
Yes. So I wanted us to differentiate between Langchain, Langgraph, and the other one is Langsmith. So then from there, we're also going to talk about in detail Langchain, some of the concepts within Langchain, the use cases. Where can you use Langchain, advantage, feature? How do you start working with Langchain? And then we're going to have some summaries and key takeaways. So to start with, I wanted someone to research for us what is a framework. Because as you are seeing clearly, Langchain is a framework. Langchain is a framework. So you first need to understand what is a framework. So you can search what is a framework in the field of computing. What do you mean by a framework? And then from understanding a framework, we now understand Langchain as a framework, and then dive into the concepts within Langchain. So anyone who is willing to research for us, what is a framework in computing? Let me also try to research here. What is a framework? Framework in computing. What is a framework? There you go. I don't want to use a very, okay, I think the ones I'm seeing here are very technical. I just want a simple definition of a framework. I think, yes, we have one from Michael, which is which looks good. So let's just go with that one from Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. So if you go to the chart, Michael has pasted for us what is a framework. So a framework is indeed a predefined environment that provides a specific way to build and deploy applications. A predefined way of doing something in computing. So this is what we call a framework. We have different frameworks in computing. A good example of a framework is React, not React, so Flask. So Flask is a Python framework for building. You've actually understood Python programming. I'm still breaking. Confirm now. I'm still breaking. Oh, I think I think now I'm okay. I think now it's okay. Confirm, Michael. Confirm with me. I think it should be okay now. Yes, thank you, Michael. So I was talking about a framework. Now, for us to understand Langchain framework, we need to understand what is a framework. So, in my own understanding, a framework is basically something you build on top of a programming language to do something. So that is actually how I understand a framework. You build it on top of a programming language. For example, we have learned Python. And because you have learned Python, both beginner and advanced level Python, we need to apply Python on web development we could have now learned something called Flask framework. So Flask is a framework for building web applications using Python. Another framework we have for Python, another very popular one is Django. So Django is also another framework. Django is also another framework that is also used to build complex web application. If you are done a programming language like JavaScript, then you could do frameworks like React when you want to do front-end development. We have frameworks like Node.js when you want to do back-end development. So basically, for you to understand a framework, it means that you've done a programming language, and now you want to apply or you want to use that programming language to build something. So then you need a framework. So you need a framework to make your work simple. Yeah, because someone tells you now you've learned Python. Can you use Python to build for me a web application? Yes, I can do that one because there is a framework like Django that has a predefined environment which gives me a specific way of building web application. I hope you're getting that one. So now we can bring the same idea to now Langchain. So if you come back here, you're being told that Langchain now is a framework whenever you want to build AI-powered application. So we are now assuming that we've learned Python and you want to use Python to build AI-powered application. So we need a framework. And the most popular framework we have in Python for building AI-powered application is Langchain. I hope you're together up to there. I hope you're together up to there. And now that is the main reason why we should now discuss Langchain, because we want to start building AI-powered application. So let's say you want to build personal assistant, customer service assistants, legal assistant, finance advisor, digital AI assistants. So you want to start building such kind of application, and now we need to think about a predefined environment of doing that one. And that is why we are now talking about Langchain. Are we together up to there? Are we together? Hopefully we are. Hopefully we are. So in case you have a question, feel free to have it on the chat. Because now from here, our main focus will be now building applications that are powered financial advisor, digital assistant, agents, and the best framework to start with is Langchain. I want to get up to there. So to start with, you're being told there that Langchain, it's an approach to build applications that are powered by large language model. In other words, if you're talking about Langchain, you are interested to build AI-powered application. Okay? So as AI engineers here, there is a need for a structured framework that can orchestrate. So if you say orchestration is a way to organize complex application workflow, to organize complex application workflow. And you're going to notice that in the field of AI, Langchain has emerged as a solution to this challenge. So the challenge is you want to build applications that are powered using AI, which will look a little bit complex. So with Langchain, it is able to provide developers, now we can call ourselves AI developers, with comprehensive toolkits for creating sophisticated AI applications. So you're going to start simple and then now add complexities as we progress. Okay? So Langchain ecosystem, as you're going to see in our practicals, it consists of three main components, where we have Langchain, which is the core framework. So remember, Langchain is a core framework. On top of Langchain, we are going to discuss something else called LangGraph, especially we want to build agents, and then Langsmith, when you want to monitor and debug how this AI are being deployed, okay? So you're going to notice that together, if you combine these three tools, that is Langchain, LangGraph, and Langsmith, we can form a complete development environment for AI-powered application. So today I want you to think about, we are thinking about an environment that we have to build AI-powered application. Let's say in your company, you have data, and then maybe they have requested you to build a personal, or not a personal assistant, but a customer support assistant using AI. How do you start? So you need to think about an environment that you will use to build the AI-powered application. And that one thing that should come into your mind is Langchain. So with Langchain, which is very, very advantage for us, prototyping is you're trying to bring a concept to production deployment. So from a concept to the production ready AI powered application. I hope you're to get up to there. I don't know whether someone can research for us from a research perspective. What is Langchain? Yeah, anyone who is willing to research for us from a research perspective, so that now I really wanted us to understand indeed what is this Langchain, because a lot of people Langchain. How is it related to AI? Why should I understand Langchain? What am I going to use? Where can I apply this Langchain? So these are questions that a lot of people are having. And that's why, like I was actually seeing yesterday, especially in Africa, people have, most of the majority are just consuming. But now we need to think about adopting AI to our day-to-day services. And the best way to can adopt this AI is we need to think about an environment where we can build this kind of AI-powered application. And that is the reason why we need to mind about launching. So every time you are working with a framework, as someone is researching for us, launching from a research perspective, you can use ChatGPT. I don't mind. You can work with any AI application. So remember, we are in the AI era, so you are free to use any. So anytime you work with a framework, for example, let's say I want to work with Django, there is an official documentation for every framework out there. There must be an official documentation. An official documentation explains how to. Plus, is also having its own framework. Another framework I've talked about is React JS. If you have done JavaScript and you want to do front end. So one way to identify a framework is that it must have a documentation, something to explain how you are going to use that framework. Because they have understand that you've taken a lot of energy to understand a programming language. So they need to give you a documentation of how you can now use a framework. Another very popular framework, maybe you can research, is Spring Boot. If you've done JavaScript, if you've not JavaScript, sorry, if you've done Java and you want to build application with Java, especially Safaricom, I'm sure they're using Spring Boot, then you can, this is also another framework. So similarly, Langchain is also have its official documentation in a website called langchain.com. So that is actually how you know you have a framework. So every framework must have documentation. And from this documentation, you are able to learn even more than what we are teaching here.
if you go to the documentation here, okay? So this is the official documentation of Langchain. From here, you are able to learn more than even what is out there in the market, because every school that is teaching Langchain, all of those materials are received from the official documentation. And one thing you are appreciating right now from this documentation is that Langchain can be implemented in two programming languages. The first one is Python, the one we've done, I hope you can see. Or alternatively, for those people who have done JavaScript, you can work with especially now for now the software engineers, because I'm sure a lot of software engineers work with TypeScript. But because we've done Python, we are going to go through Langchain using Python. So I think there is a comment on the chat, so we can go there and try to understand Langchain from a research perspective. So we have Michael, thank you, and also we have Edward. So we can start with Edward. Edward is saying that Langchain is a framework. So all of us, we have agreed that Langchain is a framework, and it simplifies the process of creating large language model powered application. So in other words, Langchain is a framework that simplifies the process of creating AI powered application. This can be done by chaining components. We are going to see that one as we progress. So it will chain. So to chain is to connect. It connects components like prompts, I appreciate so far we've done prompt engineering, models, so we know what a large language model and data sources. Okay. So we're going to see how powerful this framework is. Thank you there, Edward. Maybe we can compare with Michael. Yeah, so Michael is also agreeing that Langchain is a framework that was designed to help developers or any large language models. So for example, we have large language models like GPT-4, we have Cloud, we have Google Gemini, we have DeepSeek. For us to do that one, that is the reason why we need Langchain. I hope you're together up to there now. I hope you're together up to there. So let's go to my notes. If you check the notes I have sent to you, what makes Langchain important? What makes it important? Why should we learn this Langchain? Why is it important to developers or AI engineers? It will actually remove a lot of complexities. That is why you're talking about an abstraction layer in such a way that it will provide a unified interface. So if with Langchain, as you're going to see, you can work with any large language model by now abstracting that layer. So you can work with OpenAI if you're using GPT models. You can work with Anthropic, especially if you're using Cloud, Gemini, Google, DeepSeek, Grok AI, and the rest. So Langchain also is a modular architecture in such a way that it allows developers to mix and match components based on their need. So remember, as developers, we have different needs. Someone is using Langchain to build a financial advisor AI application. Someone else is using Langchain to build digital marketing AI assistant. So all these tools, we can work with one a lot of companies are using Langchain to build a production-ready AI-powered application. So because it has tools for monitoring, for testing, for deploying this AI application from small scale to large scale to enterprise scale ready applications. And also because it is very, very popular, so it is community driven, which means that it is backed by large community contributing integration and improvement. So whenever a framework has a very large community, then it means that it is a framework that is growing. At some point, it can be used across so many different industry, from healthcare to digital marketing to finance to energy and so on and so forth, because now the community is already appreciating the framework itself. So this is now very important. Unless someone has a question. Anyone with a question? Before we differentiate between the three, Langchain, Langgraph, and Langsmith. At least I wanted us to understand what is Langchain, and then today at least we understand the difference between Langchain, Langgraph, and Langsmith. Anyone with a question? Yes, Michael, you have a question? Michael, are you there? Or anyone with a question up to there? Okay, so I think I can proceed. So let's now try to differentiate between these three very misused terms, Langchain, Langgraph, and Langsmith. So we can...
Yes.
Yes, a question? You have a question? Is it Michael? I think did you lose it? You can pass it on the chat. So I think you can just proceed. Yeah. So you are going to see that these three tools, they are tools actually. They are in the same ecosystem. This means that if you are going through Langchain framework, you are also going to meet Langgraph there, and you're also going to meet Langsmith there. So they are in the same ecosystem. But now they serve distinct purposes in the AI development lifecycle in such a way that if we're able to understand how and when to use each of them is very important in building framework. Yeah, so we can start with Langchain, which is actually the core framework. And then from there, we're going to differentiate it from Langgraph. And then finally, we do Langsmith. And then I think from there, I will call it a day. Then tomorrow, we meet and proceed with now the other aspect, where we're going now to dive into the core concept within call it a day, and then we proceed tomorrow. So you can start with Langchain. So another word for a framework is a library. I hope you're getting that one. Another word for a framework is a library. So it is actually the core library or the core framework that provides the building block all the core components, all the building blocks, you're going to find them in Langchain. So therefore, it will give you a comprehensive set of tools. For example, tools for prompt management, because as we saw yesterday and in the previous classes, For us to build AI-powered application, we need to think about prompts. And that is why we were talking about prompt engineering. So there are tools and we have tools. Okay. We have tools for memory systems. Because as you know, these AI-powered applications, they need to have memory to remember the previous conversation. So you can have, let's give a good example. You have an AI-powered personal trainer. So it's your personal trainer, or let's say a personal assistant. So if it's your personal assistant, it has to remember, or let's say your diet, it has to remember your schedules, it has to remember your meetings, everything you do. So you need to know things. We need to think about how we can integrate this AI powered with the external data sources. For example, we can integrate our AI application with our company policies, or we can integrate it with our company databases. We can integrate it with our company data lakes, and so on and so forth. So those tools for integration, and if you hear the word integration, we'll be talking about JSON now. So that is where JSON will come in, where we are now integrating our LLM-powered application with other sources. Or Gmail, so you can even integrate your tool with Gmail account, with CRM, customer relational management systems. You can integrate this AI-powered application with ERPs. ERP, like enterprise resource planning application within your company. Okay, so the primary use case of Langchain is question answering system. So with Langchain, we're able to build chatbots that can answer questions based on some custom knowledge base. That is very key. And that is what we have been calling RAGs. Okay, so we give an AI some custom knowledge base. And then from those knowledge bases, it can answer questions based on that. That is very key. If you go to different companies, they have their policies framework. They have their mission, their goals. They have their customers. They have their FAQs. So we can actually take all that information and feed it to an LLM-powered application, and now it's able to answer questions that is specifically tailored for your company or for your business. Okay, and for people working on medical records, people working on finance, people working on marketing, we can use this LLM-powered application using Langchain to extract insights. Let's say you have a data analyst assistant. I'm sure the roles of data analysts will be replaced very, very soon. We can have AIs to gather information from large document collections, content creation in such a way that we can have assistance to create marketing strategies, create reports, create contents using now the LLM assistant, and then data argumentation, which means that we can work with this LLM-powered application to enhance existing data set with LLM-generated content and classification. So the primary use case of Langchain can be question answering, document analysis, which is called RAG, content generation, and data argumentation. So these are very good realistic example. As an AI engineer, you want to build a customer support system for an e-commerce platform, which actually is a very good venture. For most of us here, we can actually try to build such kind of system for different e-commerce platforms. So now using Langchain, we can create chatbots that retrieves relevant information from, let's say, product documentation, order history, FAQ documents. So the chatbot can answer questions like, what is your return policy? Because it knows the return policy based on the document that are provided, or where is my order? If you provide an order number, it can even tell you where the order is. This can be done by actually now combining large language model capabilities with your company specific data through something that we are going to talk about interestingly called Jumia. If you could think about a very good project to start with, you can have this website like Jumia or any other popular e-commerce website in Kenya or Africa, and then build personalized assistant. If a user logs into this website, he is able to get a personal assistant who knows his previous purchase, who knows where the orders are being placed, and different aspects from there. And this could be a very good business that we can integrate to different e-commerce platform out there, which I think they are still not implemented, and we are the people to do that one for them. I lost it. Should be this one. Yeah. So that is basically it with Langchain. So Langchain is the core framework. Remember that when it is the core framework, which means that for you to build any AI-powered application using Python, then you need Langchain. It is the core framework. Without it, you can still build it, but there will be a lot of complexity to do that one. Now, let's go to the next one. Now, what about LangGraph? What is the difference between now Langchain and LangGraph? So LangGraph extends Langchain capabilities by adding support for building stateful, if you're going to talk about stateful, multi-step agent workflow. So let me give you the best difference between Langchain and LangGraph. It uses the idea of chain, where you can chain one component to another. So we do chaining. But LangGraph uses a graph-based approach, where nodes represent action and edges represent transitions. So from this action, I'm able to transition to other action. And with LangGraph, it will allow you to create now complex decision tree and cyclic workflow. Let me give you a good example. You want an agent, because LangGraph is used a lot to build agents, to respond to customer emails. So LangGraph in such a way that we could have a graph that the transition depends on the decision that we make. Let's say, for example, the customer email should be directed to technical. So it can do that one, technical team. Or the customer email should be directed to customer support. Or the customer email should be directed to finance. Or the customer email should be directed to marketing. So we have different alternatives to direct. So that one, then we can work with a graph, because they are kind of a complexity in decision making. Because I have this customer email, where should I direct this email? Is it for the technical team to handle? Is it for the finance department to handle? Is it for the marketing team to handle? Or is it for the different aspect within your company? So when we have such kind of complexities involved, then that is where we will need LangGraph. Another very key difference between Langchain and LangGraph is that Langchain works best for smaller, simpler LLM powered application that works in a linear fashion. It works best when you have a linear fashion. From this point, let's say you have a research assistant tool. A research assistant tool should first get the theme. From there, you should go and research for the document, and then so the process is actually in a sequential or in a linear fashion. Then Langchain would work best. But now when you have a very complex situation where we have multi-step, like the one I was talking about, the customer email. So we have the email. That email should not flow in a linear way because it can either be directed to management, customer support, ICT, marketing, finance. Then that is where we'll need LangGraph. I hope you've gotten that difference. And it will now allow you to work with complex agents, as you're going to see during our implementation. So the primary use case of LangGraph, is multi-step reasoning, as I was talking about, whereby you can build agents that need to perform sequential tasks, but with decision points, the ones I was talking about. When we have cyclic workflow, when you have a loop, where we are creating systems that can loop back, and retry operation based on results, okay? Or when you have a situation to work with complex agents, like you want to build AI assistants that can plan, execute, and reflect on their actions. And very, very importantly, when we have human in the loop system, these are very, very popular nowadays. For human approval or input, okay? For example, the one used a lot in medical field. So that this is the realistic approach where we can work with the LangGraph. So if you are building an AI research assistant, then it needs one academic data found papers. It needs to summarize key findings. It needs to synthesize the comprehensive answer. So therefore, as you are seeing here, LangGraph allows you to model this in a graph where each step is a node and the agent can decide whether to search more sources, refine its query, or move to a synthesis based on the quality of information that it has gathered. That is actually where LangGraph works best. So in simpler terms, Langchain is used to build common AI assistants, while LangGraph is used to build complex AI agents. Finally, the last one is Langsmith, which is very simple. Langsmith now is the observability and development platform for Langchain application. So in other words, Langsmith, it provides you with tools for doing debugging, testing, monitoring, and improving your LLM application throughout the development lifecycle and in production. So Langsmith makes Langchain production ready because any AI application that we deploy, we can monitor how it's operating, we can test some of the prompts and so on and so forth. So primary use case for Langsmith is doing debugging to test errors, performance monitoring. It can be used to do quality evaluation and prompt management. And this could be now the realistic way, realistic application. Because of time, it's already 8:30. I think we've been having a lot of inconsistencies today because I was having a power outage today. Sorry for that one. But now I wanted us to pick it from here tomorrow. So In the meantime, you can go through the concept we've done today, and then tomorrow we dive into the deep concepts within Langchain. Anyone with a question up to there? Okay, so I think with that one, let's just call it a day. Let's meet tomorrow. We now dive into the core components within Langchain. So we'll be talking about what models. So I can talk about what are models, where we have chat models, text generation models. We'll be talking about prompts and the prompt templates. We'll be talking about chains. So we have a lot to talk about. We'll be talking about memory, how Langchain handles memory, and indexing, agents. Yeah, so I think we have a lot to talk about tomorrow. Then from there, these ideas practically now using one large language model that we have. So I think with that one, let's have a good night. We meet tomorrow. Bye-bye.